Minister Hayden, in your speech this morning at International Livestock Congress, you mentioned that the future is bright for the cattle industry. At the same time, though, there's a lot of concern about some of the financial whereabouts of a lot of the producers. Why do you think the future is bright, and what is kind of the state of the industry?
Well, I think we've hit a time where our cattle numbers are probably at the lowest that they've been for many years, and in some cases the lowest they've been for probably 80 years in some communities. But the world needs what we provide. The world needs the beef that we produce, the hogs that we produce. They need the grain that we produce. We see emerging markets in China and India, South Korea, Japan. There's amazing opportunities out there, and now is the time for us to take advantage of it. We've gone through what I call a global financial correction, and the players that are out there that want high quality products are more easily identifiable right now, and we need to go after those markets.
What about our good grass up here? Grass-fed versus corn-fed. Do we have an advantage here in Alberta?
We absolutely have a quality of advantage with respect to our livestock. We in Alberta have 45% of the pasture that there is in our country, in our entire nation. We also, barley-fed cattle out of Alberta. The quality of the animals that we produce is at the very top, and the way that we finish them and get them ready for the consumer gives the highest quality product that you can get anywhere in the world.
You're relatively new to the ag portfolio. What stamp do you want to put on agriculture in Alberta?
My biggest concern is for the primary producer, the people that are out there on the ground. These people have committed for many generations, a lot of them, to the agriculture industry. Just as an example, in my constituency alone last year, there were 22 Century Farm Family Awards that we gave out. This year, by the 1st of April, there were 150 applications for Century Farm Family Awards. Many of those people are in the livestock industry. I mean, they're in the grains too, different farms. But this is not a flash in the pan industry. This is what this province was based on. This is what will continue to carry this province because it's our largest renewable resource. So as important as it was historically to the province, it's more important to the province's future.
Yeah, these are the real heroes of Alberta's economic engine, aren't they? Really, these are the people that drive what's going on in this province.
They truly are. Agricultural producers work as hard or harder than just about anybody you will ever run into. And because of difficult market conditions and difficult weather situations recently, it's been a thankless job with respect to money.
And they're taking the risks.
Excuse me. Yes, they are taking the risks. The farmer takes the risk, the primary producer takes the risk. They're dealing with Mother Nature. Everybody else in the value chain is just dealing with market costs and market pricing. But it's there. The industry's there, and it's strong, and people weather the storms. And as I mentioned to some folks this morning, really the primary producer is the smallest component of this industry. At a minimum, there are 4 off-farm jobs for every on-farm job, and that's for the processing, the shipping, and all of the other things that go along with the products that we produce. This is an urban issue. Agriculture is an urban issue. That is where most of the money is made. That's where most of the activity happens with respect to employment, and it's an Alberta industry that has to be taken care of, and we have to make sure it's strong well into the future.
Can we keep people in this industry? Are people leaving this biz?
Well, they are, but they are globally. When we take a look at what's happened in agriculture right across the entire world, it's more obvious in places like Canada and the United States. 100 years ago, when my family first started farming, 80% of the population of our nation were agricultural producers, and 20% lived in towns, villages, and cities. 100 years later, 20% of our population live in rural Canada, and 3% of our population are primary producers. So absolutely, the trend has been to larger farms and operations, but I think that we found an area now where sustainability becomes a question. And you have to have enough people living in a community in order to support a school, to support the local store, the community hall, the recreation activities, to have the young people come in. So that's critical now. Sustainability isn't just strictly a numbers game with finances, it's also a numbers game with people and a critical mass, and we need that critical mass.
So there has been some changes to the way that, or the checkoff dollar situation in beef in Alberta. Some changes were recently made before you entered the portfolio. Do you see that staying the way it is, or do you see us moving possibly to more of a mandatory checkoff where it's directed to where the producer wants?
My belief is that we have no choice. When we talk about what markets have to be opened up for our producers in Alberta, as an example, or across Canada with respect to livestock, we have to have a large percentage of our product going into international markets, to global markets. We need them going into the domestic markets also. We are now paying tariffs to get into countries all around the world. Because of the lack of a mandatory checkoff in Canada, nobody pays a tariff to Canada when their product comes in here. We can compete as Canadians, we can compete, and as an industry we can compete, but we need a level playing field, and we're going to get there.
The numbers haven't been released yet on how much money has been producers asked for back to their own farms. Are you concerned about the amount that amount could be?
I am. I'm very concerned, and one of the reasons that I'm concerned is that no matter whose math you use, we know for a fact that every one of those $1 goes towards market development and research, which is critical to moving forward in this industry. Many people say that the $1 checkoff attracted a number of other dollars to those areas. That's critical for us to move forward, so absolutely I'm concerned. Every nickel that goes out of research and market development in our agriculture industry hurts us all.